Or we'll add an intro later.
Oh, hey everybody. Welcome to our first podcast for Mastering Mayhem.
As you can tell.
Right, definitely. It's obvious. I'm Marius. This is my wife, Ira. And we decided to start.
I'm your wife or you're my husband?
I don't know. We signed a contract.
Yeah, I'm Ira.
What did I say?
I was just being silly. You said this is my wife. And I was like, I'm your wife or you're my husband?
Oh, yeah. Both.
Who owns who?
I don't know. Because in this episode, right, we're trying to...
Episode 1.
Episode 1, that's right. What are we going to do in this episode? What do we say we're going to cover?
Well, we're talking about you quitting your job.
That's right. I quit my job. So we want to kind of...
With 3 kids, quit his job.
And now we have 4. After I quit my job, we're like, we're not scared. We'll have another baby.
Well, why'd you quit?
I mean, the long version.
Well, yeah, that's what this is for.
So I was working as a subcontractor, as you know, for Google Fiber in Austin, Texas. I'm not gonna mention the company. I don't know what legal ramifications that might have. So anyway, there's
No, put them on blast.
Put them on. We'll have to talk to our legal team that we don't have first to find out if that's okay. No, but so I was a subcontractor for Google, many years.
You said it.
For Google, but subcontractor for Google Fiber.
Oh, got it.
I didn't say who it was, right? But anyway, Austin was getting installed with Google Fiber service, internet service, when it was huge 4 years ago. Everyone was excited, blah, blah, blah. And it was a great job. I remember the first year or 2, I drove from San Antonio to Austin every morning. Right, so kind of that's what's getting to the reason I quit, is because after 4+ years of working hard, picking up overtime, dealing with the irate customers, or anyway, the all kinds of troubleshooting and whatnot. The job was fun, it was challenging, and I've progressed from just being an installation tech to a service technician to a master technician. And so I was just progressing about every year to the next position. And obviously I was thinking about becoming a supervisor next, and so on and so forth, and staying with the company. But what happened was that we have, they had a home garaging thing where we could take the Google vans home, right? So we wouldn't have to get a car or whatever. So that was very convenient and helpful for the family, right? I mean, you're saving hundreds of dollars if you're making payments on a car and fuel and whatever. So
yeah, we just had the van at the time too, right? So we were
right.
One vehicle family as well.
Right, we had the van and that's it, and then the work van. So what happened is we wanted to, like, I would go work in the city, and Ira was a stay-at-home mom. So Ira was at home with the children. I was working 50, 60 hours a week, easy, picking up overtime. And so we had the one vehicle. And so since we had all that convenience, right, when we moved out of the city, I went outside of the home garaging radius, right? They had a certain radius of miles you could be away from the shop, and we went about 5 miles outside of that radius. So then I tried to negotiate a deal with them, right? Like, hey, I understand I went outside the radius, and we talked about it before we even moved. And they told me a few times that they would look into it and see if we can work something out, right? Where it works well for both parties.
Yeah, and you were like the go-to guy for problematic customers that always call you, send you out, and always praising you and saying how much they like the way you worked and whatnot.
So that was kind of a contradiction for me, because up until this point, exactly like my wife said, is just they were telling me they were great and they appreciate me, and I was winning all kinds of awards and bonuses and all that just working hard, right, for my family, right? The usual thing. You're just trying to pay your bills and work hard and do the best you can. So anyway, so getting that message, and then when I was trying to negotiate with them, it's like, obviously I know, it wasn't like I didn't know we were moving outside the radius, but before it came down to actually talking about it, they were giving me the
impression,
yes, that hey, it's gonna we're gonna work with you, because we really appreciate you, right? You've been doing a great job, blah blah blah. So I was like, great, okay, so we'll figure that out once we get there. And so once we got there, the house was built, it was in place, we were ready to move in.
Which was kind of a side note bummer, because we looked for an area that would stay within a reasonable,
as close as possible,
distance
basically,
to them,
to make it work.
Yeah, to make this work, and
we wanted to make it work. I mean, isn't that ironic how things work out though? Especially too, this was right before 2020, which is another very interesting thing in the way things are going in 2020. And
no, this was before 20. This was 2019.
This was the end of 2019. That's what I'm saying.
No, this was the end of 2018. We've been here a year.
Oh, before wow. So time flies. Yeah, well there you go. Time flies. I don't even know years now.
Yeah, we only have 3 children at the time.
Okay,
well, we got 4. That's how I keep track of time. I'm like, wait, how many children? Plus 2.
Yeah. Okay, so well there you go. So I was trying to make it more. I guess I was trying to subconsciously. I was trying to tie it into coronavirus, and it was the right timing. But anyway, so that all happened. We moved in, right? And so then we sat down to talk about, okay, well, what can we do? Can you guys? So here's the options I gave them, and in the end, or not that I gave them, but that we discussed, and in the end they just didn't want to do any of them. So I was like, either, okay, if I can't home garage, obviously that takes away a vehicle that I can use and fuel, right? So I told them, okay, well I can go get a decent little car, you know, and you guys just pay the payments for me and the fuel, right? And that could equal out, and that wouldn't even have been $1 increase in pay overall. All right, so that's what I threw that their way. And obviously the other option was just let me drive to.
Yeah, make an exception.
Make an exception, 5 miles over the radius, and that was a definite no. And then the other option was, okay, well just give me an increase in pay that will cover, right? Whether it's 90 cents, $1, that will cover me getting a car and paying fuel. And so we put those 3 different options on the table. We discussed it. It wasn't a very long discussion at all.
Yeah, shut it down immediately.
Yeah, it was just no, we can't do that. No, we can't do it because this, that, and the other, and it's really short. So at that point is where in my mind and my heart and thinking about the family, and then obviously it's it's a risk too, but I think what made it okay for me in the end was knowing that whatever I was gonna do, I was gonna work hard anyway. I just didn't want to be with a company anymore that would say one thing to you but then behave contrary to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's the struggle for most people in their jobs, is that when they work a 9 to 5 like that, the company doesn't truly care about them. They're not valued. When you go to try and leverage, right, all the praise that you're getting over this time, you go to try and leverage that, and they're like, oh, that's not actually leverage because we really don't mean it, or it just doesn't matter to them. They're happy to have a turnover, and that was something that we realized.
Yeah, right? After 4+ years, that's really another thing that really bothered me about that. Is you would think, right, 4 years, going. Not to praise myself.
I think you called in sick like once or twice, maybe, when you were like legitimately sick, or there was an emergency with one of the children or myself.
I didn't try to take advantage of anything, or I think a few times I used my sick times, but because I needed them, or it was just. It
wasn't just because I
just don't want to
stayed out too late and I don't want to go in.
Or I got wasted, or whatever it is people use as reasons, but so that's what it was. That was kind of the final straw. Just realizing they were praising whatever I was doing, all the work, but then at the same time wouldn't work with me to keep me there. And they told me what it cost to bring in a new person, and so all these things that were conversations from before, the supervisors and the managers, and telling me all this stuff, it shocked me even more. But it solidified for me in my mind that, okay, I need to move on. And I know you said that, so I'm wondering with you guys or with other people out there, and I guess they can write in or whatever on the comments on the YouTube side, just like if they have the same experiences, like you said, from like you're working 9 to 5, do you guys feel, do you see that they really value you? And if you do, what company is that? Or is it pretty much the same across the board, right? That most people that go to 9 to 5 know, like, well, when you were working in the nursing home, right?
Yeah.
How didn't you have a similar, but it was more with your coworkers,
well,
right?
When I first started there, I was pretty young. I was 15 when I first started working there.
Wow.
And yeah, well, I had minimal hours and stuff because I was still in school, but
okay, that's right.
Yeah, and for the most part, I mean, it's being any type of nurse. I think it's a underappreciated job by far. I think most people that go into nursing just kind of expect that if their heart is completely in it.
Yeah.
But when I did work back home, there was one of the RNs that kind of ran everything. She was very considerate and sweet towards me. She was, when I decided to leave last minute and move out of town, she was very understanding, very encouraging of me. I didn't have to burn that bridge because I left. It was like from one day to the next, I decided to leave. And so I really didn't grow much there besides, staying a nurse aide. And then when I came here, I got a job working for the Alzheimer's facility. And she actually really appreciated me. I felt extremely appreciated there. We had conversations about her paying for my school so that I could continue working for her. And when I would ask for a raise, she did give me a raise. Yeah. Then when I asked for a raise later on, because I was doing a lot more work and I thought, I needed an extra pay, I just kind of took over doing that to help out, and then it just stuck. And then we discussed why she couldn't quite give a raise yet, and she was just opening her facility and these things. And I left on really good terms with her. She told me anytime I needed a job to just call her, and she'd hire me back happily. And at that point we decided that I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and that we were going to get married and try and have children right away. So I left that on extremely good terms. So I think my experience is kind of out of the ordinary. And then when I read and hear, like, we experience your situation, I see that it's my experience is the exception out of most people's experience. They're just usually they go to quit, and try and leverage, their hard work, and they're just like, okay, bye.
That your job actually helped. It was a part of that kind of just knowing that I'm gonna go away of an independent contractor or LLC or whatever. Do you remember what the work I did for her?
No, I don't actually.
It was some TV wall mounts.
Oh, really? I don't remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I did some cool. TV wall mounts for her. And so again, it was all these little types of things, right?
And we talked over.
So we can do. Yeah, it wasn't an overnight decision. Yeah, it wasn't.
But we talked about
constantly.
Before we got married, you had the Italian accent, so you went from being, a small business owner to working a 9 to 5 to start supporting a family, which kind of seems backwards now that we think about it today. Right. That we should have
done the other way.
Yeah, because the 9 to 5 really put us in this hole or this box, and we went to renting an apartment. And
but here's what's weird about that.
Paycheck.
We built up our credit.
And that's true. That was one benefit.
That's where, could we have done it on the business side?
Sure.
I think it would have taken just as long, a few years, right? Because you got to do the taxes and prove that you've made this much income. It's an official.
Yeah.
And that's our understanding of it. Maybe it's different than that, but that's what, you got to create a history of, hey, I got, I'm making so much
I think there's a level of fear too that comes with opening your own business. And can I handle the taxes? Can I handle the paperwork? Can I handle
what is it
finding
involved?
the work?
We just don't know. So the guys I spoke to at work, kind of going back to what you were saying, that your experience was very unique, because even the other technicians that I was talking to about the frustration, I don't think there was another technician that I spoke to consistently that wasn't in the same boat. They felt like there was something that was unfair or being mistreated or not enough pay, whatever. Obviously some of it can be just plain grumbling, right? But then we would talk about why they think their value was so on and so forth. So it seems to be commonly viewed as yeah, the company doesn't value me as much as I think they would or could, or things like that. So
yeah, and that's just, I think that's where people just need to start to see that when a company doesn't appreciate you, you can make your own business, or you can find a company that does appreciate its workers and switch to that, because there's an added like stress or just unhappiness that comes with going somewhere where you feel underappreciated. You don't feel valued there.
And it does,
and then
affect
you have to go there every single day. And then it just starts to beat you down, man. It's not. I remember when you first started with them.
Yeah, I was pumped.
That you were pumped. You're like, this is a great job. This is awesome,
man.
And they were still growing at that time too, so the workload wasn't a whole lot either.
Right. And at the beginning,
you
were kind of mad because I was going to work, getting paid, and just staying in the office playing chess and basketball. Remember?
I wasn't mad, but I
were a little jealous. You were a little jealous. Like, what? This guy goes to work and plays chess and basketball?
What? Well,
all day?
Yeah, I remember joking about that. I don't remember being mad though.
Well, I was shocked, but I was grateful. I was like, hey, I'll go do this. But
you commuted like an hour plus.
Yeah, San Antonio to Austin.
Fairly happily. I mean, sometimes it got to you where it was a lot of driving, but obviously we ended up moving closer for that reason.
Right, but another thing that helped was at the time I had podcasts, right? So the way I was looking, and again, this is what
you would listen while you're driving. Yeah.
It's like, well, the drive is an hour and a half, hour 15, whatever it was, approximately that. Well, what can I do at that time, right? Some people would just listen to music and I listened to music here and there, but it was mainly learning podcasts, whether it was theology or philosophy or history, right? So I was like, I might as well, I'm driving anyway. Why not learn, increase my knowledge and stuff? So that was like the only thing that made it even more than tolerable. I actually enjoyed it, right? Because I got an hour or something to listen and learn, Yeah. So that helped. Had I not had that, I don't know, it probably would have wore down a lot quicker as far as just getting frustrated with it and stuff. So that was very helpful, thinking back. But you want to jump back into where we were talking? So with the company, right, we moved into this house, we're here, now we're discussing that, and they just shut everything down as far as options. And so, like we were saying, it's in my mind now was in the heat of the moment or whatever, right? Like, now is decision time, right?
Yeah.
Am I gonna stay here? I mean, either way, I knew I had to work. That was another thing I had to.
Well, we had some saved up too, because I think it was right after income tax too, that we had that saved up, and then we were moving into the house. He took some time off to really think about it.
We overstayed our stay.
Yeah, we had an original plan that we thought would work out.
We got some money. We could just chill for 8 months or whatever. We didn't actually relax for 8 months.
I think it was like 3 months.
It was longer than it. Yeah. We should have. We should have done 1 month.
And everything. Got back. Yeah, we got a little too comfortable. But we were also thinking, what you're going to set up, what work you're going to find. Right. And then at the time you were trying to find work, and it seemed like there wasn't really going to be any work. You debated going back to Google. I remember that.
I did. I didn't like that thought at all.
Yeah, and that's what kept you from doing it, because you're like, oh God,
I'm not going back.
Because then there's an added expense, right? Again, why you left was because then we were going to have to get a second vehicle, and could we necessarily afford that? And, the added strain that was going to cause. Now we had a mortgage because we just bought the house. There's a lot of factors that came into making that decision.
Right.
And you just ripped the Band-Aid off. I think you found...
the first few jobs, so I went
you worked for that guy with the TVs.
Well, I did one night with him, but okay, so we'll kind of backtrack a little bit as far as what happened from Google. And one of the main stumbling blocks, if you want to say it, or what pushed me back was I tried, because right now I get most of my work through Thumbtack. If you guys haven't heard of it, it's Thumbtack. It's like iHandy or Angie's List, or what's the other one? Home Advisor, right? There are these apps where contractors go out and do work for private and commercial work. So anyway, you guys could check those out. But I tried.
Not home advisor.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. So I tried. So here's what. It's just really weird how it works out, because I tried way back 4 or 5 years when this app started coming out with these contracting jobs. I tried Angie's List first, I believe, and I was just paying way more for leads than me actually getting work. So I was like, oh, this doesn't work, right? Not for me. So I gave it up.
Oh, and I think 3 years into our marriage, you tried home advisor.
Yeah. So
it was just
another
caused more payments for us than anything.
Right. So with home advisor, I actually got a few jobs, but I was still paying more than I was making. So I was like, I don't understand this. Why does it doesn't work, right? It doesn't work for me. You don't want to pay more than what you're making, obviously. So then I tried twice, right? And then for some reason this time, but I think it's also because this time I was more desperate. Like, I'm not going back.
Yeah, because I think the other times you had a 9 to 5, so when you tried it, it wasn't end all be all.
Right.
With home advisor.
It was like a secondary option. If it works, it works. Great.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're like, this doesn't work, and so.
So this time I was like,
Well, I think that's the point, right? Is that there's
11:10 a.m.
Oh.
It's 11:10 a.m. Yes.
Thanks, Siri.
Where did that come from?
Your watch?
Oh, my watch is doing crazy things.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think there's a level of maybe pressure that comes with not having a backup plan, that you have to make it work now.
Right.
That was our only option. It had to work, or you're going back to Google, and you didn't want to go back to Google, so.
Like back against the wall type of situation.
Yeah, you have to make it work.
And that's true. That was one of the most motivating factors, right? Was that fact that was constantly on my mind. But it was kind of weird too, because with Thumbtack, and again, I'm not like, oh, you guys gotta do Thumbtack, but with Thumbtack, it was easier, and I got some bigger paying jobs that made the lead fees seem like nothing, right? It was like 3% compared to what I was getting paid. But also I remember the first job I did was, it was funny because had we not assembled our playset for our children, I probably wouldn't have gone, and I went and did it by myself, you guys. So most of these playsets by Gorilla, or what's some of the other brands? Anyway, those backyard playsets, you know.
Yeah, I can't think of them off the top of my head now.
Kidscape. Anyway, they're Playscape, and they on all the boxes it says you need 2 or 3 people at least.
Well, we did ours together.
We did.
That took forever.
And then I started doing stuff like our size. I had 2 or 3 later on. Anyway, I was doing them by myself, but I had no choice. I mean, I had a choice. Obviously, I could say I'll just go get an easier job. Look, I've always been that way though, right? You met me with an Italian nightstand.
Yeah.
All right. And before that, my brothers and I, we tried to do this it was like this film that you would put on glass that could keep it from breaking. It just really strengthened the glass, and it was good for like security purposes and all that.
What, you invented that?
No. Just kidding. Yeah. But we always tried that. Our brothers we've always been in that mindset, but we would work because until something happens, you just obviously
I think because dad's like that. You can't not have that.
Yeah, our dad was
mentality.
Like that. That's another episode, by the way. We'll probably go with our background, your family, my family. I think would be pretty. Oh, we didn't want to throw that in. Okay.
Oh,
so,
I don't know. Did you want to throw that in?
Oh, okay. No, but so with Thumbtack, it just worked out. I started getting work. I remember the first 2 jobs I did was assembling play sets.
Well, I think that was the pivot point, right? Is that you went from a work you know how to do,
right,
and you needed this to work, so you made the move to say, okay, I don't necessarily know this work completely,
right,
and it's maybe not the work I want to do wholeheartedly, but it's work and it's going to pay me a good wage,
much better actually,
that I want to get paid.
Right.
So I'm going to go out and do this because it's a good pay.
And I love my wife and children. I don't want them to starve and die.
And that too.
And I definitely didn't want to do welfare. Just, we talked about that actually, right? Remember at the beginning that we considered it. We discussed it.
Here at this house?
No, way back when after we got married. But so that was again.
Well, I think too at that point in time though is we discussed it and then we realized if we kind of tightened up our pocketbook a little bit more, we didn't need it. We weren't actually people that needed welfare. So I think that's where the shift more came than more of a pride issue. It was just we don't truly need that. We can make things work here. We're not at that point yet. Because there are some people that do.
There's
we don't agree with welfare coming from the state, but there are people that genuinely need welfare. So
it actually helps them get through or back on their feet or whatever. Yeah. So and that's fine. But for us, like you said, we looked at it and calculated it and said, okay, we can actually get by. I picked up a few, overtime every time they had it available, right? Mm-hmm. And we got through. Now we have 2 vehicles, a house and a trailer and a business, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's beautiful though, right?
Yeah. I mean, we have multiple businesses now.
Right.
Because Little Havanese, you haven't checked that out, check it out. I'm actually a monetized YouTube channel, which is
the first monetized family member. So we're going to talk about that too, maybe how we got into YouTube.
Well, that was one of the determining factors too, is why you were like, willing to...
I needed more time. Is that what you're talking about?
Needed more time
to make videos.
Oh yeah, that too, yeah.
Yeah, I knew that. So we were trying to manage all that, right? Like, well, okay, we know this is what we need if we want to do this. How do we get to that point?
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, had it not been for your, the dogs, the Little Havanese, that was such a big help, as far as easing the pressure significally.
Yeah.
But not allowing me to. Yeah, no, never mind. There was times where we took breaks. I would always if you were like, hey, let's just relax this weekend. Okay. I would take it anytime you brought it up, right? I don't think I ever. There was a few times I think it's like, we're kind of short on money. Let me go, But
yeah. Well, I think I struggle. I don't even know if it's considered a struggle, but for lack of a better word, I struggle with that because that's one of my love languages is quality time. So I struggle with.
Oh, you get into that book.
Well, that's just. I think that's something that's really helped our marriage, which we can talk about another time.
Look, we got episodes popping up left and right.
But because my love language is quality time, I think I struggle with, just kind of sit here with me. And then it turns into, let's binge watch the series. Yep. So we're kind of learning how to say, okay, let's watch 2 episodes and then we'll go do some work. And that's starting to really work a lot better for us because we realize we do have a lot of time on our hands. I mean,
and now we're trying to
simultaneous. That it feels like the day is so short, but at the same time, we have so much time that we're kind of wasting, so that we can kind of find a middle ground between those two. Because there's 24 hours in a day, and I was watching movies for a lot of the hours. For a lot of them,
we are movie experts.
Well, yeah.
Or
we should have started that YouTube channel.
We are well-seasoned movie watchers or whatever, binge watchers. Or
TV series, you name it.
But I think you're right. We're starting to realize, especially with you're now monetized, right? Mm-hmm. And you got to put in that time, and it's like we can't do because now it's up to us, right? Where it went 9 to 5, there's a limit where you can only do so much, and this is what's great about having your own venture, your own businesses. It is truly up to you, right? How well you're gonna do it and how much work you put into it and how much more quickly it rewards you, right? Yeah. Versus a job it depends on management and the upper, teams and all that, whatever's going on there. But so I think it's kicking in, especially now that you're monetized. I'm looking at Mastering Mayhem. And it's growing consistently, so I know, okay, if I put in another video faster, they're videos that are producing.
Yeah.
As far as having 150 subscribers and they're bringing in hundreds of views, some thousands, I'm very excited about that. But I guess we kind of went off
No, I mean, it's all kind of encompassing why, like, things that led you to quitting your job making sense. Because at the beginning, we're like, oh my God, what are we doing? And
well, remember, I started looking into the YouTube thing a few years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago now?
2, 3, Titus was
2018.
3 years old, 2 years old. Remember the first...
He's 5 now, so 2018-ish.
Yeah, so 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I started studying, looking into it. It's like, we kind of discussed this already, but what triggered me, I guess, or what just kind of, it just hit me, I just became aware of it. I was like, wait a minute, I'm watching these videos, I find value. These guys, and then I started seeing like the same people doing different videos or whatever, and so I just started looking like, well, how do you make money on YouTube? What are these people doing? And then it was just hours, and right? Remember, I'd come home from work, and then we'd have the discussions of like, how you just go and you watch this, and you're telling me this, and I want you to spend some time, and I wanted to, but at the same time, I wanted to leave my job, or at that time, they haven't drawn the line, right? Like at the end of 2018, but anyway, so it was a long process. We've been doing the YouTube thing for years now, as far as looking into it, trying to understand it.
Well, yeah, I think I posted my first video at the end of 2018. I think it was December of 2018.
Yeah.
And I mostly posted that you were looking into it and you're like, this is great, this is a, opportunity.
I know, I was like, I know it could be something
And at the
huge.
time I was like, yeah, whatever, becoming a YouTube star is or a YouTube
you remember what you told
channel
me?
is just so like far out there.
What did you tell me? I remember it, obviously, because I was like, ooh.
I don't remember. I should remember if it was a dagger to your heart.
You said, yeah, making it on YouTube is like you making the NBA, Marcus.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, dang, okay.
Well, I meant more in the sense of
how unlikely it's gonna be. It's like it ain't gonna happen because you obviously didn't
like
make
that.
it.
It did. It really seemed like that. That wasn't like trying to gut punch you. It was just like, this is how I see it right now. This is how unlikely this possibility is for us to make money off of YouTube.
I understood it. That doesn't mean it didn't hurt, though. It didn't hurt like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? But I was like, oh, okay. It was a reality check, right? Because obviously in my mind, it was racing. It's going to happen. And I still, at that time, I was thinking in a very short period of time. And you telling me that, leveled me or brought me back down to earth, because I was way up here. Oh, this guy, I was talking to every technician at work about it, and everyone was saying the same thing. And then in my mind, instead of getting negative about it, it's like, okay, less competition, sweet, so I can just keep going. I can know what things you can do it, right? So all these things. That's when it just hit me that I knew we were gonna make it happen, because all the negative stuff I would hear, my mind and my heart would always come back with something positive, right? Like, oh, everybody's doing YouTube. I was like, well, yeah, well, what about, when Nike came out, there was all kinds of shoes out already. So why would what do they think they had to offer? And then so my mind and my heart changed as for the reason to why I was gonna make a YouTube channel, right? Was it just so I can have money and be YouTube famous or whatever, or is it because I want to offer something that I believe is unique in the way that I'm going to present it, right? But it's going to be helpful, and it's just going to be my unique way of doing it, right?
Yeah, and I think when you pivoted to that mindset, then I was like, oh, well, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And I posted my first video, that grooming, terribly done video. But I was like, look, so many families ask me, how do you groom your dogs? And I've seen other grooming videos where they just kind of show you little excerpts. And I was like, man, there needs to be a video where they show you start to finish so you can do it by yourself and not have to pay for this package or buy this DVD series or whatever it was at the time.
Yeah.
So I threw that video up. I think I was all congested and I was just like,
but you did it.
Yeah. And I put it up there and we just kind of forgot about it. I think we did a couple videos after that. I did a couple grooming videos where if you check out my YouTube channel, you can actually see that I didn't even adjust the green screen. I don't even think I edited it much. Well,
but we also didn't know.
Yeah, we were still learning.
We were just learning it, right? So we were doing maybe not our best, but we were definitely wanting to get the things out there, and you were still again, you did it because you just let
yeah,
me just
and
do it.
I didn't do it with the intention of creating a channel. I did it with the intention of making my life easier, so I didn't have to explain this over and over again each time I was trying to help out different people. I could just have a video and say, hey, look at this video. If that doesn't help, then give me a call back and we'll, you know, figure out where the issue is, right? And then, what, 6 months later, that video just kind of exploded, and just comments started coming in, the views started coming in. Your eyes got all big.
You're like, oh my gosh, I'm famous.
Yeah, because I think when I say I forgot about it, I legitimately forgot.
Yeah, like it was just a fluke in your day.
Yeah, and then one day we went and we logged back. I think I logged back in, and I was like, "What the heck?" And I thought I legitimately thought it was a glitch. I was like, "What is going on? Like something's weird here." And then each day it just kept getting more and more views, and it just kind of snowballed from there. And I think that's where you encouraged me. You're like, "See, people want this. Keep making videos." And then I kind of.
And it wasn't the usual prank entertainment stuff. It was, again, helpful type, which, again, that stuff's fine. People do that. But I think you and I, we want to create stuff that's helpful or help someone make a decision, or they get more insight on something. But that's what it is. We want to help people become more encouraged that if they want to do it themselves, they can do it, and here's how you do it. We can help encourage you because we struggled with it too, right? And then we'll do it for you, basically, and show you it can be done, and you don't have to be a pro or an expert or whatever, but you can get the pro or expert results most of the time, right? So
yeah, because I don't know how many videos I watched on Havanese grooming, and they're just far and few between, especially at that time. They're far and few between, and it took a lot of trial and error of me just like messing up their poor haircuts, but they, you know, eventually learned a method that worked for us. And
methods to the madness.
Oh, there we go. See, that's why it's that.
Yeah, that worked for it, right?
And I just, I wanted to share that because I knew it was something that I'd looked for in one video just to go through and show me, and then I could pivot from there where I wanted to change that up. But the general basis or like foundation that I needed to be able to do that was there in one video, and nobody was trying to charge me anything or, you know, say, oh, you know, come buy this and then you can see how to really do it, or you just never really know the main part of it. They'll show you a few little clips here, and then you're like, okay, but what about the majority of the body? What do I do there?
You gotta pay.
Or what do I do here? Yeah. Or you just never get it, is what some of the videos led me to. And
that method is fine for other YouTubers out there if that's what they want to do and work. But
absolutely.
But you take it personal and say, okay, if I'm frustrated with this, I know other people are, right?
Right.
So there's so many people out there, and you know there's similar-minded people. So you're looking out for those people to provide a way for those people to not have to, because we all know in YouTube you get paid by views and clicks and whatever, ads and all that. So,
and I think that's where I am now. Is sure they might not be paying me for my time like blatantly, but because they're watching my videos and they're supporting my channel, I'm more than happy to answer emails and phone calls and text messages as I get the time to, because I'm sometimes, especially now that the channel is growing, I'm starting to get kind of backlogged on how many people are asking for help, and I'm trying to get to them as fast as I can. But because they're supporting my channel and it's continuing to grow because they're supporting it, when I answer these calls and these emails, it's just like, yeah, let me help you because you're helping me. You're growing me, so I'm going to help you happily.
It's a mutual thing.
And that works for us. I think because we have a Christian foundation where, you know, we want to love our neighbor, it's not always about
what can I
the bottom line, right? It's not always about the money, though the money is great and it's helpful and it helps that we can continue to do this.
We're not going to fight against it.
I think ultimately exactly.
No.
I think ultimately if you want to start a YouTube channel, you almost got to start it on that mentality of, what can I share with people? If this goes nowhere, okay, no big deal. But what am I sharing? What information do I have that I want to give to other people? And free at the beginning is what happens. And
it's a lot of hours. It's a lot of work. It's not easy.
A lot of editing.
If you don't hire someone to edit for you and do the camera, and so just think of, and check out Mastering Mayhem on YouTube. You'll see all the videos you see of my DIY stuff. I'm assembling and recording and verifying, right? So there's a video where I did a TV wall mount where the last 2 clips I thought I recorded it. So the video, I finished the wall mount, and when I go to plug it in, that's it. That's all I had for you. But I had 2 clips where I thought I was showing you the end result, and here's how the TV looks, here's how it works. But those 2 were just 1 second, and I didn't actually record anything. So, but anyway, the job was done, and I just put it up. But let's go back to, I mean, we're talking about the YouTube. Let's go back to, so I quit my job, and then I started with Thumbtack. So what I wanted to talk about, it was the best decision I ever made. Ever, right?
Ever?
You and I.
Ever?
Minus 2. There's 2 before that. Marrying you, the best ever. And having children is the second best ever. So, but financially, work-wise, in that. So in that, I know that was a good catch. So it was a great decision as far as going off on your own again. I had the Italian Ice experience, and so I think that helped because I knew that's what I like, being independent, working for myself, working for my family at my pace, if I want to go hard 8 days straight, then I'll go hard 8 days straight. If I want to work 2 days and take whatever. So yeah, it's just such a nice thing, and this is what helped. So basically right now, here's where we are. I'm making double, triple, quadruple than what I was making as a subcontractor for Google Fiber, and I'm working half or even less the time.
But you're doing harder, more intensive.
It's harder, more responsible, independent, required, or people need this work, whether it's, and I'm doing both private and commercial. And just so you guys know, I do, like, again, TV wall mounts, assembling, anything that has all the parts and the instructions, we can assemble it. I've started getting into dog parks, building fences, so now we're adding fencing to our work repertoire, yeah, to our portfolio. But anyway, so what I'm trying to get at is that if you're willing and you want to take the risk, I remember one guy that I listened to in a podcast, he said, the greater the risk, the more is the potential for the reward to be great, but it's also a potential of being really bad too. But if you don't risk greatly, you can't get rewarded greatly. So if you risk little, you'll get rewarded little, but then there's the opposite side. So yeah, you can risk a lot and lose a lot, but the reward can be really great. So I think if you're willing to take that risk, but you also calculate and you look at it, right? It wasn't a decision we made or that I made overnight, but
right,
it came to that point finally where I was like, okay, this is the time to do it. So what we're trying to get at with just starting your own business, or whether it's Thumbtack or any other way, right? Just so you guys know, like on Facebook, there's contract. If you guys are DIYers out there, or you want to do your own business, just go on Facebook, go online, and just type in contractors in your city, in your state, and there's just so much work available. And why not work for yourself at your own pace, charge your own rates? You don't always get every bid but there's just so much work you can't lose. And maybe that's just in Texas, I don't know. Texas has a lot of work. So maybe it's just, no, I'm sure every city's got a lot of work. So
yeah, I think the jobs that are slept on, right, is the term analogy nowadays for the youngins.
Slept on, yeah.
But our trade jobs.
Because no one's doing them, right?
Yeah, nobody. I think we get so focused on college and office job and making millions a year and CEO, and you forget that there's people that actually build this world that get paid a good amount of money to build everything up as well. And yeah, it's a little bit more intensive labor, and it's maybe not something you want to do the entire life, but it'll pay you a wage that is livable, and you can get away from a company that does not appreciate you.
Right. Well, so for example, we were saying we were a one vehicle family. Now I have my truck, I have a trailer, and we're starting to look into buying an earth driller because I do fencing. So, And then this just leads to other opportunities, because now we've been talking about renting out once we get these materials. So even while we're at home working on YouTube videos, we could potentially be renting out the trailer or the auger or whatever, and still making a little bit while we're focusing on the main thing that we want to do well in and succeed in, is the YouTube side, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't know how other families are out there, but you and I, we like hanging out with each other.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
We're homebodies for sure.
Most of the time, all the time.
Most of the time.
But we want to be home with each other, basically. So I think that's always the driving factor. If we can create together. So for example, so the first YouTube channel we did was Totally Titus.
Yeah.
That's actually the first one we tried with our son. And it started off by trying to be a children's channel with toys and reviews and unboxing.
Nonsense.
It was just completely random. And he's still not monetized yet, but now he's gone into just gaming. He loves Roblox.
But it's become his now.
It's his,
I love more than anything.
Me too.
He's excited about it himself. He
Right.
wants to make the videos. He's determining what niche he wants to go into,
Right.
and if that monetizes, great. If not, he's having
He still
a great
enjoys it,
time.
right,
Yeah.
right.
And I think that's the pivot for me that happened was, okay, YouTube. At first I was like, YouTube's ridiculous. Why are you even trying this? It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. Yeah, what's he doing this time?
He's always
trying
dreams.
stuff.
These dreams of theirs.
And now it's become, this is our outlet to express our loves, our interests, to share this with other people who may or may not care. And if they do, great.
And we want to hear
if they
from
don't,
them too.
great. Also,
yeah, right. Type in whatever. Leave comments. We want to hear. We want to. I think we want to encourage other people the way we have recently been encouraged.
Oh, absolutely. I think anybody that knows us in real life knows that anything that happens, we're like, dude, you should make a YouTube channel.
Well, YouTube is the thing. And we're late to the game, as they say.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been out, all right. You know, you got guys that have been PewDiePie, and who do we watch? Well, I watch Unbox Therapy.
They're making thousands a day now.
So these guys, again, that's the money is great, and but or you've heard me say it thousands of times. Look, it's the freedom. I want the ability to, like, if Titus with our children, we want to teach them Spanish, or the Greek one, we just go to Greece 3 months. And YouTube is working for us, right? We've already uploaded and scheduled the videos, and we can go do these things without saying, when's our next check coming in?
Right.
How are we gonna pay our bills? It's already taken care of. And so you can provide a lot more for your family. It's just, you don't have to do it the way that the institutions tell you that is the only way to succeed, right?
Right. Well,
So
it's funny that you're saying this,
ways,
because well, we do home births and stuff too, but I've seen a few articles now where they're seeing that there's a decrease in, like, I think it was like child depression and anxieties and learning issues, and there's an article that keeps going around talking about where are all the premature babies as well. So they're sharing that there's got to be something that's helpful to keeping the family together, right? To allowing them to just kind of home together and relax and not feel like it's this constant go 9 to 5, gotta go to sleep, gotta wake up, gotta go to school, gotta wake up, eat here, diets. It's just utter chaos that happens in a normal day-to-day life. And I think that's one of the benefits that's come from COVID, is that people have gotten a chance to kind of get back together and realize, like, hey, the family unit can be something good.
So you think maybe the government's doing this on purpose to bring us all back together? Because they care about us?
The government?
Yeah.
I wouldn't, that's a leap, sir.
Or God doing it?
I could see God doing it. Again, right, that's something that we believe, is that all things work together for good, right?
Yeah, we believe in this.
So you can take something like the pandemic of COVID, and, obviously there's all kinds of theories that we're not going to dive into today, but there's all kinds of theories behind it, but we're seeing some of these benefits coming, right? Like, there's been an increase of midwifery here, which, if anybody who knows me, I'm a huge advocate for midwifery.
You're an avid advocate.
I love midwifery care. I'm sure we'll make an episode about that as well. But
absolutely, 'cause I love it too, and I don't even have the baby, but I love it. I've been there for all 4 of them.
Yeah, it's really neat, and just anyways, being able to have you home has been, I mean, it's made all the difference for, and again, right, I'm a stay-at-home mom. That's another issue that comes up a lot in the day, like day to day. I see so many posts about stay-at-home moms struggling and not feeling either appreciated, or they just feel worn out, or they feel drained, or
like they're not themselves, and like they're losing their identity. Some of the stuff you shared with me,
yeah.
I was like, geez.
And I'm starting to understand that. Before, I used to not quite understand it, even when you worked in 9 to 5.
But yeah,
there's a level of ease that comes with working on your own hours, and if you need to take the day off, or you have a really hard night one day or a really hard day the day prior.
Right.
And I can just come to you and say, hey, you need to be home tomorrow. I need to readjust. I need to regain my, emotional, mental, whatever stability. And you can do that. We have the freedom to be able to do that versus in the past, we've lived paycheck to paycheck before, where it doesn't matter if you're sick or there's some emergency going on, or if you miss a day's work, that means something's not going to get paid, or we're going to...
It's a lower paycheck.
Yeah.
A bad mark on your, employment record or whatever.
Right.
Also,
the possibility of getting fired or other
just
nonsense.
And now that just adds to everything else, right? So why not? And this is another thing that I love about owning your own business and doing it. And it actually takes away from the things where if you're working for somebody else, it adds to the stress, right?
Yeah.
Well, this way it does, and so now it starts to take away.
Yeah.
It gets a little lighter, and again, when I go work harder, like that 8 days straight, and it was hot and this and that, it's still, even though it was hard work, it was still more pleasant overall than when I was working because I knew I was there on my time. I could take a break when I wanted.
Yeah.
We could do it at our own pace. There was no pressure as far as because we spoke about the window with the guys we signed the deal with. And gave us a lot of extra days. They gave us like 2 more weeks than we needed, right? We agreed upon it. So that helps. It starts to take away from the stress and the pressure, even though some of the work sometimes is more physically draining, but you have more energy. It's because you're more excited about it.
Yeah.
The pay is going to be much greater.
And you work hard for 3-4 days, then if you want to take a week off, you're financially able to as well.
Or even a month. But now we're discussing. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's different things that we get a little carried away on vacation, y'all.
We vacation every day for the rest of our lives if we could. But it's not really vacation because now we found something we enjoy doing.
Right, we're always busy.
With YouTube, right? That it's just because it's changed to the reason we're doing the YouTube channel is because we want to help others. Right? Like whatever you struggle with, whatever I struggle 100%. With, it's like, oh, here's the answer to that. Yeah. Or if you look at Mastering Mayhem, that's why I'm putting like tools. I do tool reviews. I want to do tool and tech reviews because if someone likes Android versus Apple or Milwaukee versus DeWalt, I just want to show, okay, well, here's why I would get this, or here's why I wouldn't get that, and then you just share your opinion, and that helped me when I used to watch Unbox Therapy and MKBD and what was the guy, Apple Everything, I think was. That helped me make a decision based on the information they gave me. So I figured, hey, if that helps me, I want to do my own version that'll help people like me. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, exactly.
And if that rewards you in the end, where you can spend more time with your family, that's the best outcome you could possibly have, I think. Man, I'm not trying to go to no clubs and bars and all that nonsense.
Neither am I.
I'll be here with my family, dang it. Anyway, so.
But yeah, so I think that's pretty much, we can ramble on forever about this.
Yeah,
so
we can.
Let's just I think that kind of gives the gist of it for episode 1.
Yes.
We kind of covered most things, and you said it was definitely a great choice. So if you're thinking about third best. If you're thinking about starting your own business, maybe this podcast will help you, and just you know.
And we're not saying to just jump into it, because like we said through the podcast,
that's what I heard.
It was really well. Again, it was years in the making. It was looking at other options that I knew we would work on even outside of the business, right? With the YouTube, it was going to be, even though I was doing the business and I knew I was going to go to work and this and that, we still had plans of what we were doing on the social media side too, right?
Right.
So it's not like it's just one option, right? The other things we were looking at, I mean, you have the dogs, right? We invested in precious metals, right? So it's something my dad always taught me. Is like, if you can get a little bit coming in from here and a little bit from there, and you know, you have a few streams coming in, it's just really, it's good to have it, yeah. But at the same time, if you have too much going on, that can also get overwhelming too. So we're trying to really narrow down to YouTube, aren't we?
Yeah. Okay, well concludes this podcast, or this episode.
Episode 1.
This is our first
Yes, that one.
This was our first podcast, so thanks for bearing with us and joining us if you listened all the way through. We have more, as you can tell, we can ramble on forever, so we have more episodes coming. Like we said, if no one listens to them, we're okay there too.
But at the same time,
but we want you to listen and
feedback. We
give us feedback, and if it's helpful to you, then awesome. Obviously, this is our goal for most of the things that we do, if not everything we do, is to just be helpful and to share knowledge and to offer solutions to things that people may not have thought of, or
that actually have worked for us.
Yeah, that work for us.
And we think we're a pretty normal family, so if we're struggling with stuff, we want to offer other families the same solutions, right? You know, so.
Or even this episode anyway could work for anybody, even someone who's single, newly married, or anybody. This is if you're thinking about starting your own business, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be way better than working a 9 to 5 if you feel underappreciated and
overworked, underpaid.
Yeah.
Demanded of beyond what's even in whatever contract you agreed on.
And you feel like you're barely making it. You're living paycheck to paycheck. So
we definitely don't like that feeling. So
yeah, that's not a great feeling for anybody. So thanks for tuning in with us, and we'll be here next week. We're hoping to do once a week podcast.
One a week, okay.
Right.
We'll be here next week.
Yeah, next week.
There we go. So thanks for watching.
Watching. We're gonna do watching.
Thanks for tuning in.
That's what I said.
Oh, you did? Okay.